Armies will be shattered.
Or we can use gas.
Worlds will burn.
Your brood can harvest Vespine at maximum efficiency.
Vengeance shall...
Gas is venting.
Silence, Isha.
Time for another poll. After the eco-friendly challenge, I'm hoping to do more Warcraft challenges, but again, it depends on what people want. The rules are simple. No spending or harvesting gas. Anything that does not require gas is allowed. Since all the no-build missions can be done without spending gas, I'll skip most of them to save energy. Most of the evolution missions should also be doable, so I'll only cover them if they're relevant to the run. The run will be done on brutal difficulty. Labrat doesn't give me any geysers, but Valerian does try to use gas to beat my Zerglings.
Disgraceful.
Back in the Saddle is a no-build mission, but there is an interesting choice presented.
Caged Zerg in there. We can use this console to set them loose.
Or we can use it to activate the gas defenses.
Gas is gas, so I choose the ethical, environmentally friendly option.
What the hell? Who opened the cages?
Rendezvous is fairly straightforward. Spam Spine and Spore Crawlers, use Kerrigan to take out priority targets, get free queens for healing, and win. I head to Caldera next and give my Zerglings adrenal overload. One advantage that the Zerg campaign has is the fact that I can change the mutations of my various units. Since attack tends to be the best stat to increase, it'll be my priority for this run. Unlike previous runs, I can actually use Kerrigan openly, so the intro is actually pretty normal. The mission introduces a new obstacle, drones on my extractor. For the rest of the campaign, there'll be workers on my extractors, ready to force a reset at a moment's notice. Better luck next time, Isha.
Eat shit and die, Ricky! Eat shit and live!
Anywho, while I can't build more roaches without gas, there are several freebies scattered throughout the map. I make sure to keep them alive with the expert tactic of spamming expendable Zerglings. Eventually I destroy the 3 spires, and the mission ends. Shoot the Messenger is my favorite tower defense mission. While my Zerglings can't fly, I do have access to Kerrigan and some free Hydralisks. I keep the latter at home alongside my roaches to function as a reserve force. To defeat the shuttles, I use the expert tactic of spamming static defense while I secure the warp conduits and biomass with Kerrigan. I do need to be careful to avoid more pesky gas pellets, but otherwise the mission is fairly straightforward. I get access to Kerrigan's Zergling Reconstitution. This lets my Zerglings return from the afterlife every so often for no charge, and as we all know, free units are gas-free. Next, I do the Zergling Evolution mission. There's no gas to spend, but I do choose the Raptor since it's the better of the 2 options. Aside from Kerrigan's wild mutation, this is the strongest my Zerglings will be for the rest of the run. As for the other evolution missions, I can do them too. I won't cover them to save energy, except for the Hydra, Muta, and Ultra evolution missions. The Impaler and Broodlord apparently cost gas to morph, even though there's no resource counter. I even get refunded for canceling the morphs. And the Noxious Ultra Strain literally uses gas to beat its enemies, so I'd have to count these 3 as failures.
Disgraceful.
Waking the Ancient's biggest challenge is the amount of gas pellets everywhere. I'm supposed to use the Vespine-hungry mutas to fly around the map, but those are environmentally unfriendly, so I make a pack of ravenous Zerglings to devour the local fauna instead. Using my Soul Queen to spawn creep tumors and heal Kerrigan, I clear paths on both sides of the map. I do need to avoid more pesky gas pellets as they're littered around the bonuses, but using Kerrigan to tank and my spores to spank, I get the meat, type rack delete, and through attrition, I end the mission. The Crucible gives me free Swarm Hosts, a Swarm Queen and Mutalisks. These can hold the front for a time, but to survive, I use the expert tactic of spamming static defense. To get the bonus, I rush a hatchery down south and build a wall of spines. These will also serve as a distraction in the later stages of the mission.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
As the mission progresses, I deploy free flying locusts to ease the pressure off my base. As always, the southern ramp is breached first, but the mission ends. After the mission, I get twin drones and wild mutation. Twin drones lets me twin drones, and wild mutation lets me wild mutation, which basically gives my units steroids. Ordinarily, banelings cost gas, but by collecting 100 eggs, I can get an army of free banelings. Free. Using Dynagan to push and my lings to defend, I get the end, spawn the banes, and bring the pain. Fire in the sky is all about spreading creep, so I swap out twin drones with malignant creep. It makes creep go vroom. Using a mix of Kerrigan and Raptors to push, I easily rip apart the Terran defenses. The biggest challenge is the tendency of my Raptors to jump onto gas pickups while attacking. I also try to use the Raptors' touted skill of jumping up cliffs to cut through the map, but it seems Blizzard's approach in this campaign was to remove fun. Old Soldiers gives me a free army of Lings and Banes. I can attack the southern expansion or take the gold base to the north. I choose the gold base because it's harder to break and also
Money!
Afterwards, I push repeatedly with Dynagan and the Raptors without giving Warfield the chance to recover. I do need to be careful due to the pesky gas pellets near the bonuses, but otherwise I easily grind down the enemy and breach Warfield's base. Not much to report for these missions. Conviction does let me morph the gas-hungry lurkers and banelings for free, though.
Entities going to bed. Please refrain from inhaling additional Vespine.
Come on, Babatha. You know I don't do that, haha.
Consumption of additional Vespine likely.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
You've noticed by now that the biggest advantage in the Zerg campaign is the amount of free units I get. To expand on this, I give Kerrigan Infest Broodling, which lets her spawn free units every time she sends someone to the afterlife. By giving her Chain Lightning, I amplify the effect, allowing me to easily spawn an army from groups of enemies. Infested gives me perhaps the greatest amount of variety in the campaign. I get free Infestors, which not only infest garrisons to create free infested Terrans, but they also mind control enemy units, allowing me to see several Siege Snakes and Thors for free. Alongside my resurrecting Zerglings, Kerrigan also spawns Broodling hordes with each attack. To aid my minions, I use Wild Mutation on my Raptors, Broodlings, Infestors, and even the allied infested Terrans. As if the mission is mocking me, it puts gas pickups right under the nearby command center, preventing me from expanding.
But you can't do this to me.
Nevertheless, with all my free units, I grind down the enemy defenses, and the mission ends. After the mission, I gain access to my ultimate abilities. These include Apocalypse, which functions like a nuke, Drop Pods, which spawns a bunch of cannon fodder, and Spawn Leviathan, which gives me a free win button. The Leviathan is incredibly tanky as a Zerg Yamato cannon and can stun masses of enemies. Hand of Darkness is surprisingly straightforward. While I normally lure the hybrid into Terran lines, since I have Dynagan and the Leviathan for once, I choose to fight them head on. As the mission progresses, I also destroy the Terran base to the west and add some free Brutalisks to my army. With the quartet of overpowered units, I easily swat aside the Terran defenses and hybrid, ending the mission. Phantoms of the Void is a bit tricky. As one of the few Zerg missions without Dynagan, I need to be careful. Since there's no time limit on clearing the first outpost, I wait until Dynagan can make a Leviathan, spawn it in, and trigger the main part of the mission. While I can't make more Leviathans, I use the initial one to clear the first two temples of enemies, allowing me time to take the expansion and get ahead with my army. Thankfully, I get Stukov, who can hit enemies with acid and spawn free infested Terrans. To deactivate each temple, I use the expert tactic of sacrificing countless raptors to keep Stukov alive as he slowly wears down the enemy hybrid with acid and infested.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
While the hybrid are too strong for my lings, I use the expert tactic of ignoring my problems, allowing me to claim victory. planetfall is fairly straightforward. I get plenty of free units throughout the mission and Dynagan to push through the early defenses. While I save my non-Zergling units for the final push at the end, I use a mix of Dynagan, Raptors, and Leviathans to smash through the Dominion, securing each bio-launcher and ending the mission with my combined army. Death from above gives me Dahaka and some free primal Zerg. In between destroying each power link, I push with Dynagan, the Leviathan, and Raptors. As if the mission is mocking me, it puts 2 Vespene right next to my expansion, which I most definitely did not run my links into by accident more than once. Anywho, once the links are destroyed, I use Dahaka to back up my army. He makes spawns, drags in priority targets, and heals my units. With the expert tactic of losing hundreds of units to destroy one structure, I eventually end the mission. The Reckoning is straightforward but long. There's plenty of expansions, but also plenty of enemies. After fortifying my position, Raider pops in. It seems that he's also doing his own eco-friendly challenge, as he apparently doesn't need gas to make all these gas-hungry units. Anywho, to deal with mech's counterattacks, I have the option of making free Leviathans. But you know what's better than free units? Free kills. Using Apocalypse to nuke the enemy, I easily swat aside the 3 counterattacks and push through each enemy base. Using my allies to support my advances, I grind down mech's defenses. While I run low on resources, I eventually wear down mechs. And the mission ends.
Hello, Kerrigan. I've been waiting for you.
Gas is venting.
Silence, Isha.
So can you beat Starcraft 2 Heart of the Swarm without spending or harvesting gas? Yes. While the Hydra and Muta evolution missions say it costs gas to morph them, they also give gas for cancelling the morph. The Noxious Ultra literally takes gas to fight with, but as evolution missions, all 3 of these are optional, meaning the campaign can indeed be done without Vespene, and without lowering the difficulty. In total, all 20 out of 20 missions can be done without spending or harvesting gas on Brutal. As for evolution missions, only 4 out of 7 missions can be done without spending or harvesting gas. The success of this run is largely due to Kerrigan, an overpowered hero unit that admittedly trivializes the difficulty. But as the rules state, anything that doesn't need gas is fine. Also, otherwise, I only have Raptors and static defense. The biggest advantages of the campaign are Kerrigan and the many free units I get, but the downside is a lack of mobile anti-air and a reliance on Kerrigan to win. Remember, vote for the next thing. Also, remember, Patrick Bateman. Sign up for early access, ad-free videos, work-in-progress updates, and more. Thank you to Time, Gladys Marino, Happy Accurate, Scott Replinger, and Jen Tuong for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and use overpowered hero units to compensate for your garbage army.
Today, we retake our homeworld. You require more Vespene gas.
I am not easily provoked.
And with it...
Oh, do you sense it? Terrazine. A shame you'll have no time to enjoy it with Amon's...
Die! Die! Die!
Solarite. Solarite. Solarite.